Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo Karjalainen. It's good to have you along. Today I'm talking about how I learned to play guitar and in particular scales and modes. Scales and modes can be really tricky for some people, and actually they were really tricky for me as well. Now this is part 2 in the series how I learned to play guitar, and please subscribe and hit that bell notification thing so you don't miss out on future videos. In the first part I talked about how I almost quit and doing exercises and getting the basics really, and today it's the scales and modes. After I started doing these kinds of exercises and so on, and the bends and vibrato, there came a point, now these are not in sequence, they flow into each other, but I started learning about scales, and we did the pentatonic scale first, the minor pentatonic, and a good help for that was doing, not just running it up and down, that's just boring, but doing sequences, something like or that kind of stuff. Now, the pentatonic, minor pentatonic scale was easy enough. I mean, most guitar players learn it at some point and fairly quickly without too many problems, at least compared to the major scales. Sorry, the major scale and the modes. Now that's a whole different thing, but the same principle applied to the major scale as to the pentatonic scale. Memorizing the scale and its modes became easier when I didn't just play them up and down, but I made sequences and exercises out of them. But the first thing for me was my guitar teacher said, you need to learn the modes. There's a great book called Monster Scales and Modes. So I got that, and he also made me, I forget the details, but somehow he made me draw the entire neck and draw out all the notes of the major scale everywhere on the neck. And that really helped me kind of visualize at least certain bits of the scale. And then I did these kinds of things. Same kinds of sequences. But I was really struggling. I mean, my teacher, he explained this stuff to me in a way that I guess I didn't understand, because I can't remember anything of his explanations. And I probably didn't ask the right questions, and I didn't really get too far, or at least that's how it feels to me now. But I remember a couple of kind of breakthrough moments, realizing that the pentatonic scale, let's say we have the Dorian mode, which is the second mode of the major scale. So let's say we're in C major. Then the second mode is D minor, it's D Dorian. And realizing that actually that contains all the notes from the minor pentatonic scale. That was one great kind of epiphany moment for me. I can play the pentatonic scale and add the notes from the Dorian scale if I so choose when I'm trying to do a solo. And my solos at this point were really, somehow they managed to blow and suck at the same time. So that was one thing. Oh, and if you want detailed explanations of these, or at least more detailed, check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description. You get access to my Guitar Academy, where I have quite a few videos on the modes, and people who seem to like those videos. You can take that stuff for free if you want, so you can just check it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay, and even if you do like it, you can just still you don't have to pay. I'm doing that because I want basically everyone who doesn't have the financial means to also get access to that stuff. Anyway, A second moment was when I started learning the song For the Love of God. Now, I'm jumping ahead a bit here. It has that chord pattern. And the thing is that it's in E minor. But the F major 7 flat 5, or sorry, that's not right. F major 7 sharp 11, something like, I don't know, because it already contains the fine. Shh. Yeah, but this thing. That's not in the minor scale, because it has an F. The E minor scale goes E, F sharp. And that kind of made me realize, hey, you don't actually, the chords underneath play a huge role in what I can play. And somehow I knew this already, but this kind of hammered it home, and it kind of woke my ears to something. And I started noticing different things in a different way, what was going on in the backing compared to my playing, or in relation to my playing. So that was a second big moment. But really, it was it was a huge amount of just banging my head against the wall and hoping that the wall would give up before my head. And luckily, the head did. So being stubborn helps. I mean, don't give up just because it's really difficult. The payoff will be enormous. You will have days when you feel, I will never learn this. When you do, maybe you can take a day off, but still, get back in the saddle, do it again, think about it, maybe watch another, if you're learning the modes, watch another video by a different person who explains it differently, and that might help. That might be the breakthrough. The thing is, even though it seems that you're not getting it, you're not learning anything, that breakthrough will mean that, let's say this is progress, that your progress feels like this, and then it suddenly does this. In reality, there is progress there. You're just not really noticing it, and learning is often like that, that you make kind of big jumps, or so it seems. So that's how I really learned scales and modes, and after the modes, most of it was fairly straightforward. The modes, they really opened up so much for me in terms of music, and stick with it, be stubborn, and keep going. It will happen, and that's regardless of what it is. This works for other stuff as well. Giving up too soon, not a good idea. If you want to check out more of my lessons, there's a playlist here somewhere. If you want to check out my music, there's another playlist. Click like if you liked the video. Comment, let me know what you thought. Subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. And join me on Patreon, because you get access to my Guitar Academy and to all of my music. And you can even take that stuff for free. There's a link in the description. I hope to see you there. Take care. Goodbye!